Listen closely, because if you've ever wondered why a woman pulls back right when you thought things were going great, or why she suddenly becomes more drawn to a man she once overlooked, the answer is hidden in something she feels long before she understands it. Most men never learn this. Most men never notice the switch flip in her mind. But once you understand it, you'll stop chasing, and she'll start gravitating toward you in ways she can't logically explain. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Attraction lives in her body before it ever reaches her brain. A woman can try to talk herself out of liking you. She can list all the reasons she shouldn't feel pulled toward you. But when you trigger certain emotional micro-responses, little psychological pressure points, she loses the fight. And the wild part? These triggers have nothing to do with manipulation, games, or pretending to be someone you're not. They come from a deeper, more primal place you've simply never been taught to access. I'm telling you this as a female psychologist who has spent years studying how women respond to masculine presence, unspoken cues, subtle confidence, and emotional safety. When a man accidentally activates the right combination of these traits, it hits her like a jolt she doesn't see coming. Her chest warms, her attention sharpens, her guard lowers. Suddenly you go from just a guy to someone she can't stop thinking about, even if she tries to ignore it. But almost every man gets it backward. They think attraction comes from texting more, explaining themselves, proving their worth, or being extra nice. They think women want certainty, reassurance, predictability. No, those things create comfort, but comfort without polarity turns into boredom, and boredom kills desire faster than rejection ever could. What actually pulls a woman deeper is a man who understands her emotional instincts better than she understands them herself. A man who communicates through action instead of pressure. A man whose silence has weight, whose presence has direction, and whose energy calms her while still challenging her. There are 6 moves, 6 psychological behaviors that make a woman feel this irresistible pull. They're simple, natural, and completely within your control. And once you know them, you'll never look at attraction the same way again, because you'll finally see why she responds the way she does, even when she swears she doesn't know why. Before we continue, answer this in the comments. Have you ever felt a woman pull away right when things seemed perfect? And if this is hitting something real inside you, make sure to like, subscribe, and share this with a friend who needs to hear it. Why? There's a moment every man misses, a moment where a woman quietly studies him, not with her eyes, but with her instincts. She's not evaluating your looks, your job, or your status. She's feeling your energy, your boundaries, and your emotional steadiness. And this is where the first move drives her wild, the way you hold yourself when you're not trying to impress anyone. A man who stands grounded, shoulders relaxed, breathing slow, movements unhurried, creates a gravitational pull she can't articulate. It tells her you're not seeking validation, you're not hustling for approval, you exist in your own lane. That calm, masculine stillness sends a ripple straight through her nervous system. She might not show it, but she feels it. The second move is emotional composure, not coldness, not detachment, but the ability to remain stable when she tests your boundaries or expresses big feelings. You'd be shocked how deeply women react to this. When a man doesn't panic, doesn't over-explain, doesn't match her emotional spikes with spikes of his own. She feels safe, and safety, combined with strength, creates a magnetic tension. Women don't want a man who suppresses emotions. They want a man who masters them. The third move is intentional attention, not clingy attention, not constant compliments, but focused, selective, meaningful presence. When a woman speaks and you actually listen, when you remember small details she didn't think mattered, when you look at her like she's the only person in the room, she feels seen. And for a woman, feeling seen is intoxicating. But here's the twist. This only works when it's balanced with moments where you're deeply absorbed in your own goals, passions, and discipline. That contrast creates desire. She wants to be part of your world, not the center of it. What most men don't realize is that these moves aren't tricks. They're reflections of inner alignment. A woman doesn't respond to the behavior itself. She responds to the man behind the behavior. If your energy is grounded, your boundaries are clear, and your presence is intentional, She feels drawn in without knowing why. It's instinctual, it's subconscious, and it's incredibly powerful. But if any part of you feels uncentered, needy, insecure, or unsure, she senses that too. Women are emotional radars. They feel truth before words ever reach them. And once she feels it, her body responds long before her mind catches up. Tell me in the comments, which of these three moves do you already use, and which one do you struggle with the most? And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this with a man who needs these truths. There's a specific kind of man who lingers in a woman's mind long after he leaves the room, and she can never explain why. He's not always the best-looking, richest, or most socially dominant, but he uses a psychological move that hits her deeper than chemistry, the art of intentional unpredictability. Not chaos, not games, not hot and cold. It's the subtle rhythm of being both familiar and surprising at the same time. Women crave emotional stimulation, but they fear instability. So when a man masters consistency in character while adding unpredictability in expression, she feels a rush she can't deny. Imagine this. He's steady, reliable in who he is, but once in a while he offers a comment that makes her blush, a perspective she's never heard, or a moment of bold honesty that leaves her off balance, in the best way. She feels safe, yet excited, comforted, yet awakened. That duality is one of the strongest psychological triggers of desire. The next move that drives her wild is decisive direction. A lot of men think leadership means controlling her or making every decision, but real masculine direction is different. It's clarity, intent, the ability to say, "Let's go here," or "I've already thought of something you'd like." Women live in their emotions. They navigate the world by feeling. When a man offers clear direction without force, her nervous system relaxes. She feels guided, not managed. She feels partnered, not pressured. And that subtle balance is what makes her trust you more deeply than she expected. Then comes the fifth psychological trigger, your standards. Not rules, not demands. Standards. The things you expect from yourself and the world around you. A man with standards doesn't tolerate laziness in his life, excuses in his work, or disrespect in his connections. And when a woman senses this, she rises to match it without you ever asking. She becomes more intentional, more feminine, more invested. It's not that she's trying to earn you. It's that your energy inspires a better version of her. And here's the truth most men never hear. Standards are attractive because they communicate self-respect. When you respect yourself, she can relax into respecting you too. When you hold a vision for your life, she feels safe moving toward it. When you expect more from yourself, she naturally wants to offer more to the connection. If you're watching this right now, tell me in the comments, which hits you harder, being too predictable or having blurry standards? And if this is opening your eyes, like the video, subscribe, and share it with someone who needs this message. There's a shift that happens in a woman when she encounters a man who knows how to hold emotional space without losing himself. This is the sixth move, and it's one of the most powerful, the ability to create emotional gravity. Most men rush to fix, to solve, to prove their worth. But a man with emotional gravity doesn't panic in the presence of her feelings. He doesn't shrink when she's vulnerable, and he doesn't collapse when the moment gets intense. Instead, he becomes a steady center point, someone she can orbit without feeling trapped. When a woman feels that kind of emotional grounding, it hits her at a level she can't explain. She feels less alone. She feels more understood. And she feels a pull toward you that's almost involuntary. Here's the secret behind this gravity. You're not trying to manage her emotions. You're simply anchored in your own. This is what makes your presence feel different from other men. You don't swing with the winds of her mood. You don't become defensive when she expresses discomfort. You don't treat her emotional waves as personal attacks. Instead, you remain the calm shoreline she can return to. And this calm, this quiet strength, creates a desire that lives beneath her words. But emotional gravity also has a second layer, vulnerability without weakness. Women don't want a robot. They don't want a man who hides behind toughness. They want a man who can share pieces of himself, his thoughts, his ambitions, his insecurities, without using them to seek rescue. When you express your truth with steadiness instead of desperation, she feels invited into your inner world, and that invitation makes her bond with you faster and deeper than anything you could ever say to impress her. What most men misunderstand is this: vulnerability doesn't make you look soft, it makes you look real, and realness is rare. A woman can sense authenticity instantly, and when she sees it in a man who still holds his center, she feels an almost primal trust. She sees someone who's both human and unshakable, someone emotionally open yet emotionally disciplined, someone she can lean on but also someone she wants to impress. And here's what might surprise you. When a woman feels emotionally safe with a man who still maintains his self-respect, her attraction skyrockets, not because you did anything dramatic, but because you created a feeling inside her she can't find anywhere else. Tell me in the comments, when emotions rise, yours or hers, are you the anchor or the one pulled by the current? And if this message resonates, like, subscribe, and share it with the man who needs this most. There's a moment, subtle, quiet, almost invisible, when a woman realizes she's no longer interested, she's invested, and that moment rarely comes from surface-level charm or perfectly crafted lines. It comes from something deeper, the way your masculine presence reshapes how she feels about herself when she's around you. A woman doesn't fall for a man because he's perfect. She falls because in his presence, she feels more feminine, more desired, more understood, and more alive. And the final move that drives her wild is this: you create